Hey, what's up folks, JK here. So in this video, you're going to learn how to use App Engine and connect to a Cloud SQL over a private IP address. So in the last video, I have shown you how to use App Engine and connect to SQL, but we did it over a public IP address. But here we are going to use a private IP address, and it's a more secure way than the previous implementation that I have shown. So I'm going to show you first the flow of events, like how things happen with the serverless VPC connector, and how it is used, what are the advantages of it, and what are the important points that you want to remember while using serverless VPC connector. And then I'm going to show you the demo actually where I'm going to implement the App Engine, and I'm going to use the same logic that I've used in my previous video, but the implementation would be over a connector. With that, let's go into my some drawings, and I'll show you the flow, and then we'll go to a demo. So in the previous video, what we have done was we have created an App Engine application, and then we connected this App Engine application to the database. If you remember that video, and I would highly recommend watching that video if you want. Basically, one issue there, what we had was that this database had a public IP address, which means that it is exposed to a public IP address, and the App Engine, the communication between App Engine and the database happened over internet. And if you look at any designs in general, when application is communicating to database, it should not be over internet. It's a bad design. So it should be always that your DB is exposed to the application over a private IP address, and the communication should be private. Now in the second design that we are going to look in this video and the tutorial, I'm going to show you the App Engine is going to talk to the database over the private IP address, meaning that the database will have the private IP, and we are going to talk to database using a private IP address, and this is happening over a VPC connector. This is what I'm going to show you, how to create that connector inside your project, and then how to use that connector so that your App Engine can talk to your database or a VPC connector. And this VPC connector is called serverless VPC connector. The term serverless is used here because the App Engine is a serverless component, and Cloud Functions is a serverless component, serverless service, and Cloud Run is also a serverless service. Now whenever you are using all these three services, you can use the same connector. So you can just create one connector, and you can use the same connector for all these three services and talk to a database over a private IP address. With that, let's go into the demo and let's see how we can achieve this. So in the documentation, I'm going to share this link in the description as well. So when you read this document, you would understand that there are three things that you have to remember when you're accessing this or when you're using this serverless VPC connector. The connector must be located in the same project and the region as the serverless service that connects to it. So the project and the region of the service should be same, and traffic to internal IP address is routed through the connector. By default, traffic to the external IP address is routed through the internet. That's what we have discussed. And you can use the same connector with multiple serverless services. And the fourth one is for resources that allow cross-region access. The connector can be in a different region than the resource it is sending traffic to. You are built for egress from the connector. Right, so this is something that you would note, and there are steps here as well, like connecting a Cloud Run service to VPC connector, and we're going to use App Engine here in our example. But if you look at this link, it is not that comprehensive, so I'm going to show you the easiest way to do that. And obviously the supported services as on today are Cloud Run, App Engine Standard, except PHP 5 and Cloud Functions. With that, let's go to my project. Alright folks, now I am in the Google console, and select the project where we want to do all these operations. I have selected my project. Now as usual, I'm gonna open the Cloud Shell, click on Activate Cloud Shell and open that in the new window. So first we're going to go to the Cloud SQL and this is where I'm gonna do my first operations. I'm going to do the same thing that I have done in my previous video, basically creating the database, creating the users, and doing all those stuff. Cloud SQL. I'm going to do MySQL. Click on create instance, choose MySQL. Instance ID YouTube demo. Create the root password, and here we're going to assign the private IP address for this instance. So click on show configuration options and go to the connectivity, click on private IP address, enable API, the default network is what we're going to choose here because we do not have any other network in this project. Okay, select that and click on create. We're going to leave the public IP address here. I'm going to tell you why I'm leaving that once I open the Cloud Shell and I proceed with other operations, but I'm going to explain you why. Eventually we're going to remove that. I'm going to wait a couple of minutes and pause this video till this operation is done. I'm going to resume once it is done. Alright, so now we see the instance got created. Click on the instance, and if you see here in this section, there is a public IP address and the private IP address as well. Perfect. Now let's go to the databases, and we're going to create a demo database here. And also I'm going to create a user, master GK test 1 2 3 4. Perfect. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to create the VPC Serverless Connector. So search for VPC Serverless Connector, would see Serverless VPC access. Here enable it. Now click on create connector, give the name connect to SQL or something, and the region is going to be the same as my database. My database is also in US Central 1, and I'm going to have the same region here as well. The network is default, IP range is 10.800/28. Basically, you know, we should make sure that this range is not overlapping with the range in the current network, and it's most of the times it's not overlapping. You can use the same in your practice as well. Click on create. It's going to take some time to create this. Meanwhile, what we can do is we can proceed with the rest of our operations in the terms of creating the table in the database and inserting some stuff and running those queries. Go to the Cloud Shell and connect to the database. Before we connect to the database, we're going to set the project. So it's cloud config set project ID, and paste it here. But now once it is done, I have to connect to our MySQL database. Go to Cloud SQL. You can open this in a new tab if you want. Go to the instance. This is the connection name. So if you have any doubts on how to connect to MySQL and stuff, I have put that in my GitHub page. I'm going to paste this link in the description. You can see this is the command, Cloud SQL connect, and the instance name, which is YouTube demo. Minus my user is equal to master GK. Space here. All right, so now we have connected to the database. So let's proceed with the other operations, which is selecting the database, and we're going to create a table. We're going to insert stuff into the table, and now we're going to verify this. Exit out of this. Now let's check back on my VPC connector. VPC connector. Perfect. So the VPC connector, serverless VPC connector, is also created. So now let's go to the app engine section and let's try to deploy the app. So this is the main part, and if you have any doubts on what are the files that you have to create for the app engine, I have committed those files in my GitHub again. So for this demo, use the files called with the extension of PIP, which is private IP address, and main PIP, app PIP. And the requirements.txt is same. You don't have to worry about that. So that, and then those three files are important. So if I open app.yaml file, the main section that you would see here is the VPC access connector. This is the main thing that I have added here when compared to my video which I've done before. So in that video you would not see this, but in this video you're going to see this VPC access connector. So basically what's going to happen is when I'm deploying this app in the app engine, we're going to say that this application is going to go through VPC connector to hit the traffic, to hit my private IP address. With that, I'm going to change anything else that's missing here. Basically it is the connection name is YouTube demo, not you, I think. Let's verify that. Go to the SQL instances. You can see the connection name is YouTube demo. Copy this and paste it here. Project name, colon, location, and then the instance name. Save this, and now let's look at main.py. I made some changes here as well. One thing that you would see here is the host name. Make sure the host name has the private IP address, which is this one. And it's always a good practice to externalize this as well in app.yaml file, which I haven't done, but you can try it out. Put it in your app.yaml file. Okay, so I have my private IP address and rest of the things are same. Save this main.py. Requirements.txt, you don't have to change that. The other thing which I forgot to mention you guys is the reason why I had the public IP address here is because for my Cloud Shell to connect to the database, I have to use public IP address, because Cloud Shell connects to the database over an internet, and to do all those operations I had to leave the public IP address there. But if you want, now since I'm done with those operations, what we can do is we can go to the connections here and remove the public IP address. Save it. Again, this will take some time for the instance to be updated. All right, so the update is finished. Now we go back to my Cloud Shell. Here we're going to do gcloud app deploy. Continue. Yes. Okay, my bad. So what mistake I have done here was I forgot to change the connector name. This is just a perfect example that the connector should be in the same project as your app engine. I forgot to change the connector name because I was just doing a demo in my previous project. So let me get the connector, VPC connector. and this is the name. The connector name is correct, and I just had to change project ID and paste it here. Perfect. Now save it. Let's try again. Alright guys, so the deployment is completed, it uploaded and it's successfully deployed, and you can see the traffic is also routed to the newer version. And if you have any issues, always use gcloud app logs tail default, or you can also look it from console. So let's try hitting the URL, and this is the moment of truth. Perfect. You can see I'm getting the response from the application, and it is connecting to the database over private IP address and getting our response back. And this is the perfect demo of using and enabling your app engine to talk to the SQL over a private IP address using the VPC Serverless Connector. You can try this with Cloud Function as well and take it as a challenge for yourself, and try using VPC Connector and use Cloud Function to talk to SQL over a private IP address. And that's all for this demo. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Do subscribe to my channel to miss awesome content. Thanks again. Take care. Bye.